10,000 kamikaze drones. A €250 million contract signed in a single afternoon. Ukrainian instructors training Polish troops at a base 200 miles from Belarus. School children learning to fly armed drones at age 15. Poland has done all of this in the last 18 months, and almost nobody outside the defense world is talking about it. Warsaw isn't preparing for the next war. Warsaw is preparing for a specific war. A war it believes is coming within the decade. And the weapon system at the center of its entire strategy costs less than a used car. This is the Warmate Doctrine, the direct result of what Polish strategists learned from 3 years of war in Ukraine, and it's already being copied by the United States Army. To understand why Poland is arming this aggressively, you first have to understand the drone itself. The Warmate belongs to a weapons class that redefined the battlefield in Ukraine, loitering munitions. The name sounds clinical. The effect is not. A Warmate launches from a portable tube. It circles over the target zone. It searches, tracks, and strikes. The operator can sit up to 30 kilometers away. With drone-to-drone control handover, that range extends to 80 kilometers. The Warmate 3 variant reaches over 100 kilometers. The specs matter. It uses a low RPM engine that can be shut down completely during final approach to avoid acoustic detection. Its propeller blades fold in the attack phase. It carries 3 interchangeable warheads: fragmentation for infantry, heat for armor, and thermobaric for hardened positions. The Warmate 3 carries up to 3 kilograms of explosive at a cruising speed of 90 kilometers per hour. But the weapon's true power isn't performance, it's price. A single Warmate costs a fraction of an anti-tank guided missile, and it does the same job. Ukrainian special forces have been documenting exactly that since 2024. Russian radar systems, air defense platforms, and armored vehicles were destroyed by Polish drones operated by Ukrainian crews. Ukraine was the testing ground. Poland was the attentive observer, and what Warsaw saw changed its entire military philosophy. For decades, NATO militaries built their doctrine around heavy platforms: tanks, fighter aircraft, artillery systems. These systems were expensive, slow to produce, and operated by highly trained specialists. The Ukraine war shattered that model. According to the Modern War Institute at West Point, drones now account for roughly 70% of Russian casualties. $400 FPV quadcopters have destroyed American-made M1 Abrams tanks worth $10 million each. The math is brutal and it is permanent. Poland did the math faster than anyone else. In 2024, Poland spent 4.12% of its GDP on defense. That was the highest ratio of any NATO member, higher even than the United States. The following year, Warsaw announced that 2026 spending would rise to 4.8%. That works out to roughly $54 billion annually. For a country with a population of 37 million, that number is staggering. The 216,000-strong Polish armed forces are already NATO's third-largest army, behind only the United States and Turkey. Prime Minister Donald Tusk has stated the goal openly: expand that force to 500,000 personnel, combining professional soldiers, reservists, and volunteers. By the end of 2026, Poland will field 779 modern main battle tanks, including the M1 Abrams, South Korean K2 tanks, and German Leopard 2s. That is more armor than Germany, France, and the United Kingdom combined. But tanks alone don't explain the strategy. Warsaw is not preparing to fight the last war. Geography explains the urgency. Poland faces a heavily militarized corridor that runs from the Russian exclave of Kaliningrad through Belarus down to the Ukrainian border. Any Russian conventional attack on NATO would almost certainly pass through Polish territory. In September 2025, that reality stopped being theoretical. Russian drones crossed into Polish airspace and damaged a civilian home. The incident was brief. The message was not. Defense Minister Kosiniak-Kamysz summarized the situation with unusual bluntness. At the launch of the civilian training program, he said, "We live in the most dangerous time since the end of the Second World War. A war is raging across our border. Acts of sabotage occur in the Baltic Sea, and there is constant struggle in cyberspace. This is the context in which the 10,000 Warmate contract must be read." It is not a procurement line item. It is the central weapon of a new operational concept. That concept has a name inside the Polish General Staff: sensor-to-shooter loop. Here's how it works. A reconnaissance drone called the Fly-Eye, built by the same wGotowości group, scans the battlefield and identifies targets. The data feeds into Topaz, Poland's digital artillery command and fire control system. Topaz assigns the target to a Warmate operator, potentially sitting kilometers away in a concealed position. Within minutes, sometimes seconds, the Warmate launches, cruises, identifies, and strikes. No external fire support required. No lengthy artillery tasking cycle. No expensive guided missile. The entire kill chain, from detection to destruction, can now be executed by a small team with gear that fits in the back of a truck. This is the doctrinal shift. Polish strategists are decentralizing lethal force. They are pushing precision strike capability down to the platoon level and in some cases below it. Which brings us to the most remarkable component of the plan: the civilians. On November 6, 2025, Warsaw officially announced wGotowości, in English, W Ready. It is the largest national defense training program in Poland's modern history. The pilot phase began on November 22, 2025, across more than 130 military units. Registration happens through the government app mObywatel. Participation is free. No oath is required. No commitment to service. The program splits into two modules. The first, Resilience, is designed for civilians with no interest in a military career. It covers basic defense skills, crisis response, and battlefield first aid. The second, Reserve, targets citizens eligible for mobilization with heavier training, weapons familiarization, and unit integration. Deputy Defense Minister Cezary Tomczyk has confirmed the scale. 20,000 Poles would complete individual training in November and December 2025 alone. Total participants across all formats could reach 100,000 in the first year. The goal for 2027 is 400,000 trained citizens. But the most revealing element of the program is not in the official announcement. It is in a specific phrase Kosiniak Kamysz used when describing future plans. He called it the Drone Legion. The concept is modeled on Poland's existing Cyber Legion, a structured reserve of civilian volunteers with specialized skills. The Cyber Legion handles digital defense, and the Drone Legion will handle unmanned systems. That means civilian drone operators who can be activated in wartime, trained, equipped, and networked. A ready pool of distributed precision strike capability drawn from the general population. To build that pool, Poland is moving faster than any other NATO country. Ukrainian trainers from Dronarium Academy, which has run military drone instruction in Lviv since March 2022, opened training centers inside Poland in September 2025. 2 months later, Ukrainian drone operators conducted live training for Polish military personnel at the Orzysz training grounds in northeastern Poland. The student-teacher relationship is notable. The ones doing the teaching have been fighting the war. The training pipeline extends further. In April 2026, Poland will begin a pilot program called OPW to train students with a drone. 30 students from 16 schools will be trained on quadcopters up to 5 kilograms in weight. If the pilot succeeds, the program expands to 500 schools nationwide. Polish teenagers will be learning to operate unmanned aerial vehicles before they learn to drive. Compare this to the traditional anti-tank training pipeline and the logic becomes clear. Javelin anti-tank missile operators can be certified in just 72 hours of classroom instruction. No live rounds are required. A Polish territorial defense soldier can be combat-ready against armor within 3 days. A civilian drone operator, given the right platform, can be ready even faster. This is what military analysts mean when they say the character of war has changed. Not the nature, the character. The fundamental mechanics of how violence gets applied on a battlefield. The physical infrastructure matches the doctrinal shift. Construction on Poland's East Shield began in October 2024. The project stretches over 400 miles along the borders with Russia and Belarus. Total cost is around $2.5 billion. Target completion is 2028. By mid-2025, The first section of modular concrete anti-tank obstacles had already extended 20 kilometers. Work continues year-round, 7 days a week. Prime Minister Tusk summarized the mission plainly. He said they will make the Polish border secure in peacetime and impassable for the enemy in wartime, and that they do this to deter the enemy. The shield integrates bunkers, fortified shelters, logistics hubs, and drone defense systems. Colonel Sławomir Walentynkowski of the Polish General Staff explained the actual purpose. Today's fortifications, he said, have no chance of stopping a determined enemy. Their job is to scan enemy movement and funnel it into predictable corridors. Corridors where Polish fires, including Warmate strikes, are pre-registered. In other words, the East Shield is not a wall. It is a kill box. Not everyone in Poland is convinced this will work. Academic analysts have raised sharp questions about the training quality of the Territorial Defense Force, the reservist organization at the center of the doctrine. One analysis argued it is difficult to imagine volunteers with only weeks of annual training successfully engaging Russian Spetsnaz troops in deep operations. Other critics point out that pulling professional instructors and facilities away from combat units to run civilian courses could actually weaken the regular army. The public response is mixed. An IBRIS survey from August 2025 found that 44.8% of Poles would volunteer to defend the country in wartime. Nearly half, 49.1%, said no. Among citizens aged 18 to 29, the number jumps higher. 69% of young Poles say they would not come to their country's defense. A pollster survey from the same month found that only 41% of Poles believe the Polish army can actually defend the nation. These are real numbers, and they expose the gap between strategic planning and social reality. Warsaw is betting that the training programs will close that gap. That exposure to defense skills, medical training, and drone operation will shift public attitudes. That making participation free, voluntary, and skills-focused will pull in the segments of the population who would otherwise disengage. It's an experiment, and Europe is watching. Because the Polish model is already being copied. In July 2025, United States War Secretary Pete Hegseth issued a directive ordering every United States Army squad to be equipped with unmanned systems by the end of 2026. The directive explicitly cites lessons from the Ukraine war. It signals an American adoption of the same operational logic Poland has been building since 2023. And the Warmate itself is evolving. At MSPO 2024, the annual Polish Defense Exposition, WB Group unveiled the Warmate 50, a strategic variant with a 50-kilogram warhead and a range measured in hundreds of kilometers. WB Group engineers stated openly that the Warmate 50 could reach Moscow from launch positions on Polish soil. That is no longer a tactical weapon. That is a strategic deterrent, deployed through a loitering munition platform, a weapons category that 5 years ago was considered a niche capability for special forces. This is the point Western defense establishments are still adjusting to. The line between tactical and strategic weapons, between professional soldiers and trained civilians, between artillery and reconnaissance is dissolving. Poland is the first NATO member to build an entire national defense architecture around that dissolution. 10,000 Warmates, 400,000 trained civilians, an eastern wall designed as a kill box, a drone legion drawn from the general population, a school program teaching 15-year-olds to fly armed unmanned aerial vehicles. These are not separate initiatives. They are a single integrated system, a country redesigned as a distributed precision strike weapon. The doctrine has a logic. If Russia attacks, it will not face a traditional army in predictable formations. It will face layered fires coming from concealed positions, operated by trained operators pulled from every town, every university, every office. The attacker will not know who is a soldier and who is a civilian, because the distinction will no longer be meaningful in the places it matters. Whether it works depends on factors nobody can predict: morale, political stability, the quality of the training itself, the 49% who say they will not fight. But the strategic message is unambiguous. Poland has decided that the era of professional-only armies is ending, that the future of European defense runs through swarms of cheap precision weapons operated by a militarized society. and that waiting to find out whether this bet pays off is not an option. The Warmate Doctrine is not theoretical. It is being built, contracted, and trained right now. If the next war in Europe looks anything like the last 3 years in Ukraine, Poland will be the NATO country most prepared to fight it.